1993, North Korea. A man named Anyong Chol is behind the wheel of a prison truck. He has been a camp guard for 8 years. He has seen executions. He has watched children starve. He has participated in torture. And he never once questioned any of it, until this moment. He glances at the prisoner sitting behind him and asks a question so simple it should not mean anything. Why are you here? What did you do wrong? The prisoner does not answer with anger. He does not answer with silence. He answers with something far worse. I don't know. I was 2 years old when they brought me here. That one sentence is about to unravel everything. 1987. Anyong Chol is 18 years old, and in North Korea, being chosen as a prison guard is not a punishment. It is an honor, a privilege handed only to families who have demonstrated absolute generational loyalty to the Kim regime. Out of his entire district, one person gets elected. It is him. He enters the army and is sent to Station 11 for training. The indoctrination starts on day 1 and never stops. The message is simple, and it is repeated until it becomes instinct. The prisoners are not like you. They are enemies of Kim Il-sung. They are traitors who oppose the state. If they attempt to escape, you are permitted to shoot them. If they disobey, you are permitted to kill them. Anyong does not question any of this. He has no reason to. He has been chosen. He is special. He is on the right side of the fence. He is handed an AK-47 pistols, a uniform that grants him absolute power over human life. More power, he would later reflect, than slave owners ever had. Because at least slaves were given food. Inside these camps, starvation is not a consequence. It is a weapon, a deliberate tool used to grind down whatever remains of a person's will. He is stationed at Camp 22. This is important. Camp 22 is designated a total control zone. That classification means one specific thing. Nobody leaves. Not ever. Not for good behavior. Not through rehabilitation. Not through mercy. The only exit from Camp 22 is death. For 8 years, this becomes his entire life. In the beginning, it is easy. The prisoners have no faces, no names, no humanity. They are just bodies, moving through forced labor, digging, carrying, collapsing, dying. Anyong watches executions. He sees children wasting away from hunger. He participates in torture. He does all of it because he has been told it is correct, because he has been told these people deserve every bit of what they receive. But then his role changes. Anyong becomes a truck driver. His job is to transport prisoners between camps. And during those long drives, something completely unexpected happens. He talks to them. They talk back. One conversation rises above all the others. He asks the prisoner the most basic question he can think of. Why are you here? What exactly did you do? The prisoner looks at him with genuine confusion on his face. I don't know, he says. I was 2 years old when they brought me here. The man in front of him is now in his mid-20s. He has spent every single moment of his conscious life inside Camp 22. His brother, too. Their entire family has been executed. And not one of them, not a single person, was ever told a reason why. This is the moment Anyong learns about the 3-generation rule, a doctrine created personally by Kim Il-sung. If one person commits a political crime, 3 full generations are punished for it. The grandfather's generation, the father's generation, the son's generation. Entire families are erased from existence for the actions of a single person. These 2 brothers, now 24 and 26 years old, have been inside Camp 22 for over 2 decades, for something their grandfather may have done. Something so distant they never even learned what it was. For the first time in 8 years, Anyong begins to see the system for exactly what it is. Not justice, not protection of the state, just a machine, a cold, indifferent machine, engineered to consume human beings completely and leave absolutely nothing behind. He starts questioning everything he was ever taught. But he is still a guard. He still wears a uniform. He still follows orders. Until 1994. Anyong is home on leave visiting his family when the news reaches him. His father is dead. Suicide. The reason? He questioned the regime's food rationing system out loud. A few words spoken in a moment of doubt. That is all it took. Under North Korea's law of guilt by association, his mother and younger siblings are immediately arrested and transported to the very camps Anyong has spent nearly a decade guarding. And Anyong knows with absolute certainty that he is next. He is the eldest son. In North Korea, that means everything. It means responsibility. It means accountability. It means he will be held personally answerable for his father's words. He will be sent to the other side of the fence. He has a complete psychological breakdown. He did nothing wrong. He worked hard. He was loyal. He was a perfect and obedient servant of the state. And none of it matters even slightly, because the system was never built around loyalty. It was built around one thing only: control. Total, absolute, inescapable control. But there is something the system failed to account for. Because Anyong has spent 8 years inside these camps, he possesses knowledge that almost no ordinary North Korean has access to. He knows exactly, in precise lived detail, what waits for him on the other side of that fence. He has seen it with his own eyes. He has been part of it, and he decides he will not go quietly. Back at the camp, there is a guard assigned specifically to watch him, to make sure he does not run, to make sure he accepts his fate without resistance. Anyong needs to eliminate that threat without raising suspicion. So he does something extreme, something theatrical, something designed to convince him his loyalty is beyond question. He writes a letter in his own blood, a declaration of complete and unwavering devotion to Kim Jong-il, words of total allegiance written in the only ink that could possibly make them believe him. It works. The surveillance is lifted. The guard is reassigned. Now Anyong has a small window of opportunity. He could take it just for himself. He could disappear into the night, reach the Tumun River, swim across into China, and never look back. But his mind keeps returning to those two brothers, the ones who have spent their entire lives inside Camp 22, the ones who have known nothing but barbed wire, starvation, and cold concrete floors since before they could even form a memory. He decides he is going back for them. One night after finishing his shift, Anyong arms himself, an AK-47 and several pistols. He is prepared for a firefight if it comes to that. He climbs into a prison truck, starts the engine, and drives to where the two brothers are being held. He tells them to get in. He tells them they are leaving. He tells them tonight they are going to be free. But here's a devastating truth about spending your entire life inside a cage. When someone finally opens a door, your mind does not always let you walk through it. The brothers are terrified. They have never known a world outside these walls. They have no memory of safety. They have no understanding of what it even means to exist as a free person. And so somewhere along the route, they make their decision. They climb off the truck. They walk back into the darkness. Anyong is alone. He risked absolutely everything to save two people who could not be saved. Not because they lacked a desire for freedom, but because the system had broken them so thoroughly and so completely that they could no longer recognize freedom when it was standing right in front of them. He drives to the Tumun River, the border between North Korea and China, between captivity and the possibility of something else. He abandons the truck. He sets down the weapons, and he swims. The water is bitterly cold. The current is powerful and relentless, but he makes it to the other side. The moment Anyong crosses that river, a search party forms immediately behind him. 150 armed guards pour across the border into Chinese territory, into the town of Yangi, actively hunting for him. And this manhunt is not North Korean alone. Chinese soldiers join the search in direct cooperation with the North Korean guards, making this an international operation to drag him back. Anyong has no time to register what China looks like, what cities feel like, or how different life is on this side of the border. He is running too desperately to notice any of it, with direct assistance from the South Korean government, the specific details of which he cannot share publicly because people are still using that same route today. He eventually makes out of China entirely. Without that help, he believes he would have been shot dead. He arrives in South Korea. But freedom does not erase memory. It does not undo what he has done, what he has witnessed, or what he has been. In Seoul, Anyong comes face to face with a man named chol-hwan, a well-known North Korean defector who spent 10 years as a prisoner inside the camps. Anyong had been a guard. Kong had been a prisoner. And the person Anyong fears most in his entire new life is not a government spy. It is not an assassin sent to silence him. It is a victim, someone he may have personally hurt, someone who has every conceivable reason to despise him. South Korea shocks him in other ways too. He watches ordinary citizens on television openly and fearlessly criticizing their president, calling politicians corrupt, demanding accountability from those in power. Even years after defecting, Anyong himself struggles to do this. The conditioning runs that deep. Even surrounded by freedom, the old wiring remains. But slowly, something fundamental begins to shift inside him. He comes to understand that he cannot undo the past. He cannot bring back the people who died. He cannot erase his role in their suffering. But he can make a different choice about what he does with the time he still has. Today, Anyong Chol stands as one of the most important North Korean human rights activists in the entire world. He founded an organization called NK Watch. Together with his colleagues, he has documented the suffering of hundreds of victims in meticulous detail. He has submitted over 700 formal petitions to the United Nations Human Rights Office. And the most remarkable part of this entire story, he does all of this work alongside chol-hwan, the prisoner and the guard, the victim and the man who was once part of the system that victimized him, working together, side by side, toward the same goal. They smuggle USB drives across the border into North Korea, drives loaded with Wikipedia articles, foreign media, and in censored information that the regime has spent generations trying to ensure its people never see. Anyong Chol spent 8 years as a guard inside North Korea's most brutal prison camps. He was both the weapon and the target, both an instrument of oppression and a victim of the very same system he dedicated himself to serving. He tried to free 2 prisoners and he failed. But in every year that has passed since, he has freed countless others, not by breaking open physical gates, but by dismantling the walls of ignorance that keep an entire nation imprisoned from the inside.